Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4:40 and we are at our January 23rd, 2023 West End Opportunity Partnership Board meeting. Welcome to all of our members here in person and online. I'd like to give a special welcome to Miss Jessica Jackson, who is our new One West board member replacing Devon Holt. She works at Humana. So we want to give a special welcome to her. We would also like to, everybody forgive me, it's my first time, so sorry. We also have Mrs. Jones, who is one of the 9 neighborhood representatives who is from Park Hill. She is also in our meeting today, sitting in. Oh, and I guess we better acknowledge the new board members. Myself, Dr. Mary Milliner is, I am now the chair of the West End Opportunity Partnership. And then we have a vice chair, J. Michael Brown, who is now our vice president, Ms. Jennifer Hancock, who is our secretary, and treasurer, William Summers. Oh, he stepped out for a second. If Miss Rita, if you will call the roll.
Happy to. Okay. J. Michael Brown.
Present.
Alicia Burns. Dr. Douglas Craddock.
Present.
Gina Dunlap. Jennifer Hancock. Jessica Jackson. Welcome, Jessica. Dr. Gabe Jones. Dr. Mary Milliner.
Here.
Michael Nagel. And I know you prefer Mike Nagel. Christopher Romaine. Desmond Smith Jr. William Summers. I know he's here. I think he stepped out. Dr. Don Wade. Secretary Jarena Weathers. And Vicki Stone is sitting in as proxy for Secretary Weathers.
Present.
Gary Williams. Monique Porterman for Secretary Jeff Knoll.
Present, thank you.
Thank you. Jeff O'Brien.
Here.
And we do have a quorum. Oh, Chris, I didn't see your hand. Okay. Christopher Romaine. Okay, got you. Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
All right. Okay, so on our, keeping with our agenda, we have the approval of the minutes, and those minutes were distributed to you for review. Are there any corrections or anything that anyone needs to note on the minutes? Having none, anybody online? Sorry. Having none, we need to, someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes? That was Ms. Hancock. Do I have a second? And that was Mr. Brown, second. So the minutes have been.
Still need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All in favor of the minutes being approved as is? Sorry. All in favor, say aye. Are there any opposing, say no or nay, sorry.
Okay.
I'll get there. I'll get there. The minutes have been passed as stated,
And it's approved.
and it's
Mhm.
approved. Thank you.
And regarding the minutes, Madam Chair, if I could,
Yes.
one of our members, I think Gina, raised a question about the approval of the minutes from the special meeting. And although it was I think the preference of our prior chair not to have those minutes stand for approval, we will resuscitate or bring back those minutes and have them approved by the body so that we'll have a set of approved special meeting minutes. So they're not on the agenda today, just because we didn't think that there'd be enough time to adequately notify the public about what was to be on the agenda today. But they will be on the agenda for next month's meeting for approval.
Total of three sets.
There are 3 special meetings. Are there any questions regarding that or any concern about that?
So moving on, we now have the interim president CEO report from Ms. Laura Douglas.
Thank you, Madam President. And although it's late, let me say happy New Year, happy 2023 to everyone. We're at a momentous point historically. I think it's worth kind of looking back over what we have accomplished to date and just kind of patting ourselves on the back, but also looking forward to the continued challenges that are ahead. Our first challenge to overcome, of course, when we were first formed, was the fundraising challenge, and we did meet that challenge, raising $10 million from community supporters and then receiving the statutory $10 million from the city and also from the state. Our responsibility now, as we see it, is to maintain those good relationships with our funders. So we've put in and invested some time in bringing our funders up to date, visiting with them and answering any questions they may have about the activities of the partnership. But going forward, again, our role will be to maintain those ties and to perhaps develop a larger pool of funders, philanthropists who want to support us. The statute also had a number of prerequisites, other prerequisites that we have to accomplish. And as we go into 2023, I think it's worth noting how many of those things we've kind of clicked off the calendar. We had to achieve our 501c3 status, and that has been done. We had to negotiate and sign an interlocal agreement with the city of Louisville regarding how revenues would be disseminated to us beginning in 2024. And that interlocal agreement has been signed and it is now an ordinance. And our charge now is to continue to work with the city, particularly as the administration has changed and as the new mayor's priorities are coming into view. And I can tell you that housing is on his list of new priorities. So there's much that we can do in partnership with the new mayor. One of our remaining obligations is to have a procurement policy that is characterized by competition and openness. And the board did decide to have a procurement policy that's modeled after the state procurement code. And we did indicate that we wanted to partner with the city of Louisville and use their procurement resources, given the small staff that we have now. But while we've expressed our interest and have made a statement about procuring in an open way, which allows for competition, We still have to finalize all of that and move forward to see what resource we can in fact use for our procurement activity. The big meat of what we need to do that remains is to make contact inside each of the 9 neighborhoods in order to bring back information from those neighborhoods about what the folks who live there want us to do, want us to take on as projects. And today, when you hear the balance of the community, the balance of the standing committee reports, there's some exciting news. If the board moves forward with the recommendations that are going to be made today, we have the real possibility for the first time of having all 9 seats from the neighborhoods filled. And that is fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous, because each of those 9 neighborhoods will serve as our best resources for gathering that community information that we need to inform our work plan. So again, we've accomplished much, but we've got a lot still on the agenda to do. And with each of us kind of keeping our eyes on the prize, I'm confident that we're going to continue to move forward. And that concludes my report for today.
Next on our agenda, information updates. First, we'll have Jennifer Hancock, was the chair for the Board Development Committee.
Our colleagues online, if you can't hear me, let me know and I'll come closer. Does this sound okay?
Would you please come closer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am coming to you today on behalf of our Board Development Committee. And, no, you're fine. Good afternoon, everyone. Coming to you today on behalf of our Board Development Committee. I want to thank my colleagues who have served on this committee with me. We have interviewed 2 candidates for this board that we are excited to present to you today, one of whom is in the room with us, one is online. And I want to begin by letting you know that we have with us in the room, Ms. Darlene Johnson-Jones. Thank you for being with us today. We had an opportunity to interview Ms. Johnson-Jones last week. She is a resident of the Park Hill neighborhood. She is retired. She owns her own home and she has lived in that neighborhood for 19 years. She has a lot to bring to this table, most importantly, a passion for serving her neighborhood and participating on this board. So I want to stop, see if you have any questions before I let you know that that is a formal recommendation from our Board Development Committee.
Do I have a?
Should we take those as 2 separate motions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I have a motion to accept Miss Darlene Jones as the Park Hill Neighborhood Representative.
That motion is from the committee. If I can be the second. Yes.
Second, okay. So we have the motion and the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion.
Bravo.
All right. Congratulations.
Motion has been passed.
Fantastic. Next, I'll move on to our guest who is online with us today. And I'm talking, of course, about Ms. Sharon Allen. Ms. Allen lives in the Parkland neighborhood and she's lived there for 60 years. She owns her own home and she works at Ford Motor Company. We had a wonderful interview with her as well. One of the things that really stood out to us in her interview was her commitment to this board, despite the fact that she has a busy work schedule that may sometimes conflict with our board meetings. She is willing, as she has demonstrated today, to call in from her vehicle to be as present as she possibly can. That speaks to your commitment, Ms. Allen, already. And I want to acknowledge and recognize you for that. So I'll open it up to see if you have any questions for me and the committee. Otherwise, that is a motion coming out of the Board Development Committee.
Do I have a second? Is that? Bill Summers, sorry, Mr. Summers. I'm learning names. Okay. So we have a motion and it has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion has been passed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I again want to thank my colleagues who have served with me on this committee. In addition to that, Dr. Jones and his Community Engagement Committee have been integral to us getting the message out in these two neighborhoods in particular, along with Rita and Laura have done a wonderful job of staffing tables at various events and really working hard to make sure that the neighborhood had an opportunity to submit recommendations. And I'm confident that we have two excellent new board members. So thank you both. And thank you all.
And quick question for you.
Thank
I'm so
you.
sorry. Quick question for you. First, thank you so much to the committee for all of the hard work. It is really hard sometimes to make these decisions, especially when there's so many good options. Just thank you for all of your support in that. Before we let you go, because job well done, any advice when it comes to filling the parliamentarian role? We're so close to having a fully staffed board. I want to make sure to ask this now, just because we have such a full board at this point, if anyone has interest. And I really think it's going to help several of our new board members to be able to navigate the Robert's Rule of Order method.
Well, this is a matter that came up, I think, in the nominating committee meeting. And the response was, given the expertise and experience that I have serving as a parliamentarian, being a general counsel at 2 organizations, and then being a board chair on several other organizations, we felt as if we had what we needed for parliamentarian support at that time, at this time, rather. So this does not mean that in the future, we won't seek to nominate a parliamentarian, but at this time, we did not think that filling that office was necessary.
Thank you. And just for my clarity, does that mean you're listed as the title for interim executive director and parliamentarian?
No, it will not say parliamentarian. I will simply assume that role for the board meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so moving along, we now have the Communications Committee Chair, Dr. Don Wade.
This is the hot seat right
Yeah.
here. Everybody has to sit right here. Thank you. We got rollers on it now.
Good afternoon, everyone. So just a short update from a communications and marketing aspect. We have been working feverishly to update our new assets and collateral with our new approved logo. So you'll continue to see additional assets that move out with that. Now that we have additional board members, we will start customizing some of the things that require board member names. So that will be coming out. And as we start to be present in more events and things like that, we will continue to have things customized from a marketing perspective. But we're also in the process of completing an RFP document that we would like to send out and distribute for the production of a new website for the Weston Opportunity Partnership website. While the one that we have was just something in place to communicate what was happening, we understand the need for a fully functional professional website that's being maintained by a partner. As with our procurement process, we want to make sure that we're fair and do our due diligence in sending that RFP out so that it's able to matriculate throughout the community to look for vendors that are minority, particularly making sure that it has an opportunity to progress through our channels that are here locally so that we can find the best partner. So while we are working on that RFP document, our goal is to have that finished within the next 2 weeks, distribute that, that document in places like Courier Journal, Urban League channels, The Defender, So we'll have a list of those of who we're going to communicate those to, in hopes that we will then give about a 3 to 4 week process to have proposals come in. At that point in time, we'll have the communications committee review those proposals and then come back to the board with a recommendation as to who we should work to fulfill that RFP. So any questions in regards to the website RFP? And if anyone in the room has suggestions about partners who can fulfill that, I would ask that they send that over. You can send it to Miss Rita. I'm sure she'll get it to me if you don't have my contact information. That's it.
Thank you. And now we will have the finance report from our chair of the finance department, Mr. William Summers.
And then we go back to community.
Thank you.
Hot seat.
I'm in the hot seat. First of all, thank you. Right now, our balance sheet is still looking pretty consistent. The biggest thing, the movement, is our monthly expenses. And in in November and December, and they were slightly increased for December due to us paying legal fees. And we had the legal team doing work to create the agreement that we needed with the city of Louisville. And ultimately, that was ultimately about 6 months worth of work that they had worked on. So it's been pretty consistent. They're really, one of the major expenses that we have is the labor and contract expense that we have. But we have very talented individuals handling that, so we're very lucky to have that. So, I mean, it's not a lot to report there, but we will be trying to have, I think, a meeting on the 27th of January. And from that, I think there will be some, hopefully some recommendations will come out of the committee that we can bring to the full board so we can move forward and make sure that the finance committee and our finances stay in a strong position. And we have the advisors to make sure that that we're dotting all our i's and crossing all our t's as well. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
So I had a question. The bylaws state that any expenditures over $1,000 have to be approved by the finance committee, which I understand isn't really in place. But then, and I'm not questioning and I'm sure we needed these expenses, but until the finance committee is in place, what's the oversight mechanisms and who's authorizing these payments?
Well, before that was happening.
Mr. Summers,
Yes.
so sorry to interrupt. Would you mind to reiterate the question? We were having some trouble hearing.
Yes, he was making the point that any expense over $1,000 needs to be approved by the bylaws by the finance committee. And he just wanted to know how we did that as the finance committee was being created. Laura, you can.
I was just going to add or to explain that all of the expenses for the organization are reviewed on a monthly basis before they are forwarded and authorized for payment. Every invoice that is submitted is reviewed. I review each of them. And for instance, the legal bill that you see in the finance report for this month, there was a line-by-line review, a reconciliation as to the work that was done, a confirmation of the work before it was forwarded for payment. So that occurs on all of the bills.
But
The bylaws state that it
right.
has to be part of the committee.
Yes,
So
but now
going
that the
forward, are we gonna follow that process?
absolutely.
Yes, sir. That's what I
Yes,
wanted,
that's the point of
The-
having the
the
finance
committee.
committee pulled together. So
Yeah.
the finance committee will be reviewing all of the expenses on a monthly basis. And when the chair comes to make the report, as he's doing now, it'll be a result of the committee's review. So it'll be a report out from the finance committee.
And I appreciate you bringing that up just to make sure that we are operating the way that we should. And I think, like I said, it's taken, hey, we're getting everybody here, getting everything in place. And now we're really, focused on making sure that that happens exactly the way that it should. Yes, ma'am.
So as finance, I have two questions. What are your thoughts as our treasurer on preparation of the operational budget for the organization? And then can you tell us who is currently sitting on the finance?
I don't have the names of them.
On the finance committee are Bill Summers as the chair, J. Michael Brown, Alicia Burns, and Mike Nagel.
And like I said, we're gonna try to have our first meeting on the 27th. I think that has been out. And then, like I said, I don't want to just drive, I'm gonna drive it, but I want to get recommendations and make sure. So to answer your questions, I want to kind of have conversations with the finance committee. And then, like I said, we'll come back with recommendations for the board to discuss and see how we move forward.
One of the first things that they will be doing, based on what the chair's interests are, is issuing an RFP to identify a financial advisor. And that financial advisor will bring recommendations on setting up a restricted funds account so that we can make money off of the money that we now have, or make money off of a portion of that. The financial advisor's responsibility will also be to project on a yearly basis from 2024 going forward how much of a rebate we anticipate receiving from the city. And then based on that information, develop an operating budget. So again, one of the big hunks that the committee is going to bite out first is identifying a financial advisor who can assist us in methodically putting together the finance plan.
Like I said, we don't have staff that can do that. So I think it's in our best interest to have a reputable advisor to help us make sure that we are doing that. But like I said, I want to get with the committee and make sure that everybody kind of stays on board. But that's what I'm thinking would be our best mode of operations moving forward.
So rebate, is that a reference to the tax increase?
Yes. Because remember, under the statute, we have an obligation to project how much we anticipate receiving on an annual basis. And if I look around the room, all of us are bright, interested, energetic people, but that's not a skill that we have represented in the room. So the finance chair really feels strongly that one of the first orders of business for that committee is to identify a company, an individual, et cetera, who can help us accomplish the financial objectives that we're required to do under the statute.
Yeah.
Quick point.
Yes, ma'am.
The Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development serves as ex officio. One of the reasons is that we manage the tax increment financing districts for the rest of the state of Kentucky. I'm more than happy to provide access to our deputy commissioner who oversees tax increment financing and can get you access to some of the contractors that the state of Kentucky has interacted with in the past. Just an offer out there.
Yes, and I think we have discussed that previously too, Monique. You've offered that to us, and we're very much interested in setting up a meeting like that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much. If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I apologize, I left off Dr. Jones, who's going to come to us with the community engagement report. Sorry. I was saving the best for last, right?
Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna be very brief.
Community Engagement Committee has not has not had additional meetings since we had the motions at the November meeting. So nothing new to update on that front. I'll actually be connecting with the folks on our committee to schedule our next meeting so that we can begin to move forward with some of the items we established in November. And I would, while I'm here, no pressure, because I know you all are just getting started. But to Ms. Johnson Jones, first of all, I love that last name. But if you're interested in sharing some of your expertise from the knowledge of your neighborhood and your community with the Community Engagement Committee, we would love to have you, because we have a lot of work to do in establishing how best to connect with our communities and our neighborhoods. And the same thing to Ms. Allen. If you have the time and capacity, we would also love to have some of your experience and expertise on the Community Engagement Committee. If you don't have that time, that's okay too. But I wanted you all to know that the door is open.
Thank
You're welcome. You're welcome. Does anybody have questions for me? It's pretty short and sweet. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. All right. So now on to old business. If there is any old business, do you have any old business? Okay. And then on to new business. Is there any new business? Mike Nagel.
So after filing our 501c3, we filed our 990 IRS tax return for 501c3s. The IRS is like a year behind on posting those online, as is typical. Since we want to make sure that we're providing, the public and the neighborhoods good information about what we're doing with their tax dollars.
Would you please speak up just a little bit louder for us, Mike?
Mike, come in the hot seat. Thank you.
I don't know if you'll be able to hear me. I'm close or not. So basically, the IRS normally publishes the 990s on their website, but they're like woefully behind by like a year and a half. So in order for us to provide good information to the public, I'd like to make a motion that we post the 990 on our westendpartners.org website.
Let me say it's fine to to pass a motion if that's what the board wants to do, but we will put it on there. We're obligated to do that, as you said.
Okay.
So we don't need a motion to compel us to do it, but it does belong there.
Okay.
So it'll be placed there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we still want to vote on it or? Sorry.
I don't think,
your motion if it's automatic.
yeah, we
Say
don't.
again?
You can retract your motion if it's gonna go up there anyway.
Keep it out there. That way it's in the minutes.
Hmm.
So we can keep it out there and that way it's in the minutes.
Okay. If you need to have a second.
In terms of discussion, how soon can we post the 990?
We can
I think
post
the
it.
part of it's the timing, so if the IRS isn't posting it for 12 months.
Yes,
how
we
much
can
sooner
post it
can we
right
post
away. We can post it right away. We just have to communicate with the person who customarily puts things online for us and just instruct them to do it. Because
We'll get it on there this week.
it's
That
public
should suffice.
information, and a number of nonprofits just routinely have their 990s posted, which is why I said it's something that we would do ordinarily anyway. So we can take care of it ASAP.
But you're saying we don't have to vote, right?
But you've had a motion and a second now. So,
But you need to call for the
uh-huh,
vote.
call for the vote.
okay.
There's been a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. The motion has been passed. Any other new business? So now we have reached the point in our meeting to have our public comments. As always, we will have 5 participants, or we have room for 5 participants, and each one of those particular people will have 3 minutes to speak.
I'm looking online. I know we don't have anybody in the room. Anybody in the room who wants to speak? These are your hey, Scott. Okay, so we have 10 attendees. And we don't have any hands up at all at this point. Oh, there's a hand. Ms. Barbara, I'm gonna click and allow you to talk. Barbara Bliss.
Hi, this is Dr. Barbara Bliss. And I have a question that's been posted in the chat. First of all, is our neighborhood rep there? I was not able to hear the roll call.
Did you ask about Christopher Romaine
Gary Williams.
or Gary Williams? Okay, Gary Williams is not here today.
Okay, so my request is that the engagement committee require neighborhood reps to have contact with their neighborhood. We've tried repeatedly to reach Gary Williams with he has not responded. And I'm saying we, the Chickasaw Neighborhood Federation. We've posted our quarterly meeting schedule on Facebook. So we are requesting contact with our neighborhood rep and an establishment of dialogue with the neighborhood.
Dr. Bliss, I am happy to connect you via email with Gary. I'll be happy to do that this evening.
Thank
so
you.
that you'll have direct contact, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm done.
I see no other hands at this point.
Seeing that there are no other.
Oh, wait
Oh.
a minute, one minute. Mr. Hargrove, I'm gonna click and allow you to talk. Just ask you to unmute.
Yes, I live in the Park Hill area and we got some things going on over here and definitely would like to relate with Miss Darlene Johnson Jones. If I could get information from her, maybe we can connect and see how we can work together in this area.
I'll make sure that I connect you to as well, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So it looks like we are now at the point of our meeting where we need to talk about our next board meeting that we will have. It looks like we are on the schedule for February the 27th
In the same location.
in the same location, 4:30. Any comments? Yes.
I can't see that well, but I saw Shiny in the comments. Can someone open, I want to make sure that I'm not missing something from my neighborhood that someone has put in there.
You saw what? I'm sorry. Oh.
In the
It's
chat.
in the chat, she said, that she wants to see.
Is the Shawnee rep there? Is there a certain amount of meetings they're able to miss? That's the question in the chat.
Yeah, so Miss Erica, I am representing Shawnee. I have missed a couple of meetings. However, normally I am on Zoom or I'm running late. Did it answer your question? You're welcome.
This is Laura Douglas. I just want to reiterate the purpose for the open statement part of the meeting. Please keep in mind, participants, that this is the time of the meeting where you get an opportunity to make a statement. Time is not provided for question and answer or a dialogue. Folks have stepped up today and quickly answered the questions that you have. But going forward, keep in mind, the open time in the meeting is available to make statements only.
Okay, and as of now, looks like we are at the end of our meeting.
Let me, before the meeting adjourns, I want to congratulate Dr. Milliner for presiding over her first meeting. Sometimes it may be a challenge, like herding cats, but little by little, we'll all get there. Thank you for your service, your willingness to step up.
All right, you're welcome. And again, just be patient with me. All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn our January? He's like, I'm out. William Summers and then Dr. Wade. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody online. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great start to your 2023.
Thank you, Monique. Good to see you. Thank you all for your patience. I'll be talking to you, Miss Allen. I have your binder.
All right. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.